Hi all. Right, back to the action. Um, one little thing, I made a wee. I've just not long uploaded the. Well, I had to split the video into two because it was going to be that long. So there's a wee small part two, and then part three is a bit. Um, it's a bit bigger. Well, much bigger. Um, I was going to put them both together, but it was going to be over 2 hours, I think, which is a bit maybe going to test your patience, I think. So I made a little comment. The one thing I picked up was we were talking about this allied unit had taken 2 hits, retreated, become dispersed, and then I was a bit frustrated at the end of the end of the night when I wanted to finish things about advancing after combat with these 2 infantry units, both with selector number 4, and I was, what's the rules for that? And I did think it was regarding the core if it came down to it. But, and I've made a comment in the video, this unit had reinforced the battle, and with the rules within the Allies solo, a German unit that reinforces the battle cannot advance after combat, which is something that wasn't within the German solo. So, funny enough, I think when I first read it, I says, right, I need to remember that one. Could be easily caught out with that one, and almost was, I suppose, if this unit had been the. However, we ended up not advancing anything because we got kind of stuck with this whole, is it core objective? Is it army objective? What do you go by? So I had a look back on things, and I mean, yeah, I suppose because my question comes up first when I done the search, and it was never answered. Come on, Martin, get on the case. And that would have been the last time I played it, so I'm assuming that was a year ago as well. So there was nothing else to really find. Like I say, the rules as written, if it says army objective, should you just look at army objective rather than core objective? The only thing it does, I will say, within the rules for moving via a core objective, as where are we? Yeah, not very organised again. Yeah, it says that hang on, wait, I find the bit that the words. Yeah, okay, I found it. It's within 9.1, right at the beginning of 9.1. It talks about army and core objectives. And then it says one corps in each German army, and it lists the 3 corps, has a core objective marker that takes priority over the army objective marker for units in that corps, giving the units corps-specific movement objectives. So that's the only bit there. It says it takes priority. But if the words on advance after combat actually say army objective, there's nothing I can find that says that then, priority is a different word from you change it to a different thing, it's, so it's, I think I've just got to go with what it says and treat it as army objective. Nobody's come back and replied as of yet. I've left it a bit of time because I was doing other things. But no, nobody's come back and said anything that they can confirm that what it should be. So I'm just going to treat it as of that, yeah. If it says army objective, I'm going to move to that. If it talks about its movement, then that's obviously going to be under core objective. So, okay, enough of that. Right, so it was an allied impulse, and I think what we decided we were going to do was probably that. So I wanted to activate the 18 core I still kind of do, but I think, well, the whole point was to, because we were worried, we wanted to play that card as a combat tactic and then realised that it was maybe not the best idea and we should probably try and activate them and get Veil Sam protected in particular. So, yes, I'm going to play that and activate all units in the core. Now remember, it's only the infantry units that are restricted on the first day. The mechanised units can move their full movement allowance. At least I think that's right. Give me a sec. Yeah, I was pretty sure that was right. So it's it's non-mechanised units may move only 1 hex. So the 2 9th armour units there that we're planning on moving are okay. So yeah, I'm going to activate them and I'm going to move this unit 1, 2, 3, 4 into Veil Sam. So when an allied unit enters a hex with a robot, the robot just gets removed. I'm pretty sure that's right. I don't need to look at it, I'm sure. Now the other one, I mean, I did talk about putting them down into Bastogne. Baston's not threatened at the moment, but the 5th Panzer Army objective is in Houffouez, so sure there's a temptation to maybe just stop into Houffouez and hang about there. We've also got we're activating the full core. We've got this unit here, it's reduced. We've got this unit in, which is in a town, and this unit's in a town. Probably not going to move either of these two, I don't think. Was contemplating maybe moving this one across the river. I mean, I don't know though, because he's in a town, so he's getting a boost to the town, obviously, for extra. He needs an extra hit point to eliminate him. But in that forest across the river, not sure. We're gonna have to think about that one. And what about this? This guy would lose his dispersal, and that's 18 core. So we're gonna get that as well, which is quite good. Well, he's reduced, isn't he? Yeah, so it doesn't make great odds really. But he's better being not dispersed than dispersed. So, right, just let me think about what I'm going to do. The main one is this. What I'm going to do with this. See that light's getting in the way a bit. I'd moved things about earlier, so it's better. Yeah, I think I will just move him into Houffouez. Because it looks like more. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't look like the 47th or. Well, I'm saying that they've only got this little guy in the way, really. But you know, if they're not, there's not threat on Bastogne at the moment. So if the 47 were suddenly to go right through here and into here, then hopefully I'd still get an activation to come back down into Bastogne or possibly deploy something a bit, get a reserve in the way, or no, maybe not. Yeah. So should I just put it down at Bastogne? I don't know. No, I don't think I will. I think I'll keep them kind of, the 2 units kind of closer together, I think. Okay, so do we move that unit across the river? No, I don't think we do, because he means he's exerting zone of control where he is, and if he moves then he's not, and they could get they could get all funny on us if I move there. Then I'm not got zone of control around these hexes, so they could get, maybe mess things about. So I'm going to leave that unit there, and I'm going to leave these two here. Unfortunately, they're all in town, so I'm not going to be able to build an IP. And the other unit, the other unit's this, so he gets to remove his disperse marker. And that's my activation over. Okay, so I think that was okay. So we've still got 3 cards in our hand. Oh, and I should be, that was me activated them, so I'll do, what I've done, well, you know what, we'll use a dark green cube, since it's the ally. So that's just to say that these units have been activated. We're not allowed to activate them next impulse. Needs to be an impulse in between when you've activated them. So okay, so next it'll be a German impulse, so we'll see what happens there. Okay, German impulse, so let's draw 2 cards. Oops. Oh dear. That was clever. Made a mess of things. Oh, made the bigger mess of things. Right, hang on. We'll tidy that up. Hang on. Okay, there we go. Don't know if you might have noticed, I'm very pernickety about how everything looks and keeping all my units carefully placed. It got me thinking again about, I was talking about Kurt, how I watched his videos originally, and that was one thing that did frustrate me. The counters were all over the place, all not in a wee tidy pile like I like it, and it was sometimes got to me a little bit. Mind you, you'd wonder why I had played with the old beaten up chits, but there was something about that. But yeah, I do like to keep things kind of tidy if I can. Oh well, it's a problem, I guess. Okay, so here's the 2 cards. So yeah, it's a Piper card, so it's got a 0, so this is going to go in the primary, so it's part of the 47th. They're both division cards. So, and because it's not primary, it just goes on command value. So does the support card have an event? Well, this time it doesn't. The first couple of times it did, didn't it? So it's not this time. So when is it? It's the 17th and the 18th. The Piper does it. Well, the Piper does the thing on the 17th and the 150 and the 18th. That's quite nasty when they can ignore zone of controls. So well, we'll see that on the 17th and 18th. Because unlike when you played it as a German, so a supplemental card you wouldn't see the next again day, but you get to see them all. Yeah, they chuck everything at you. Okay, so we're not playing the event, so we'll see this getting used slightly differently this time. So this is now our command card. We move on to that, and we read through the first 2 are G's. So we've got activate the 26 VG and FBB. I'm right in thinking FBB's not on the board yet, is it? That comes in later, doesn't it? Yeah, it doesn't come in until the 18th. So it's just going to be the 26 VG, the infantry units, that are going to activate. So let's have a look at where they are and what they're going to do. Okay, so here's the 3 infantry units here. There's 2 in this hex. They're 3 strength, and this one's a 4 strength. So they're the 3 units that we're going to try and do something with. So first of all, when we activate them. Well, if there's allied roadblocks adjacent, they would get removed. That's not going to happen, so there's none. And then we check the location of the objective marker for the army to which active units belong, relocating it if required. So we've put, it's 5th Panzer Army, so that's it there. But I'll just go quickly over I think I maybe said already, maybe I did I? You would relocate it if if the marker is on the map and no German unit is proximate to the marker or within 2 hexes of the marker, regardless of the presence of allied units, the marker stays in its current location. So no German unit is proximate or within 2 hexes. So it's actually to the marker, isn't it? Proximate to the marker. Well, that's not possible because there's an allied unit there. So basically, we're going to have to get a unit while he's there. We're going to have to get a unit within 2 hexes of that unit for this to happen. So the objective marker is going to stay where it is. So that's where they're looking at still in. So now we're going to move them according to the movement methods in 9.2. Oh goody. This is where the bulk of things can lie. I mean, okay, we've only got 3 infantry units here, so it might not get too bogged down as of yet, but there's a lot of movement methods. There's 13 movement methods, so you've got to go through you go through 1 to 9, looking at each individual unit, and then 10 to 13s. I think 10 to 13s check slightly differently. 1 to 9 and 10 to 13. I might have that wrong, but we'll take it slow. And well, I need to take it slow because this is kind of not sunk into my mind yet. Okay, so we're checking in. Well, it depends what method that you look at. There could be ascending, it could be descending. They're all slightly different, depending on what you're going to do. So I'll just read this bit because it says right. What did I say? Move all eligible units by a given movement method before proceeding to the next movement method. Start with movement method 1 and continue down the list of movement methods until all units have moved or until movement methods 1 to 9 have been checked. Then, if any active units have not yet moved, check movement methods 10 to 13 for each of those units individually. So I've seen folk get caught out with that. So it's slightly different once you get through the 9 movement methods. 10 to 13 are slightly different the way you check them. Okay, but let's just move on here, and I'm just going to use the rule book to start with it. I mean, the player aids are really good, so hopefully I'll be able to move on to that. You know what, I tend to find, I think it looks like I've looked through these pages quite a lot on the rule book, so I've probably used the rule book more than the actual player aids. But okay, well, you've got special moves, and they're not subject to restrictions in 9.21, which is what we talked about briefly earlier. But right, exit the map. Can any of these units exit the map? No, they can't. Can they move adjacent to the Meuse River? No, they can't. Can they enter an empty Allied VP hex? No, they can't. So that's the special moves out of the way. That's movement within movement method 1. And then, sorry, movement methods 1 to 4 enable German units to seize opportunities. That's what it says. And that was just 1, the special moves. So 2 is in ascending order, closer to objective and next to VP hex. So a move to a hex both closer to the unit's army objective and adjacent to an allied VP hex. So no, they can't do that. It's not a VP, is it? No, their nearest. Well, actually, yeah, he does exert zone of control, so I can't like sneak down here. Nah, I wouldn't get right down to adjacent to Elbrook anyway. Sorry, that's off the camera. I was just wondering if you could get down here, but this guy is exerting zone of control anyway, so we can't do that. So the next one is movement method 3, which is trying to cause surround. So, right, move an active non-bracketed unit each to a hex that, if occupied by the unit, would cause one or more allied units not surrounded to become surrounded. Well, none of these units can do that either. Like I say, he could move into here, but it's not surrounding that unit. He could move into here. These guys. So no, that's a lot of the time you can skip through these quite quick. I'm just trying to browse over them just to let you know. But I mean, maybe it might be better for me to just find the one that's going to be applicable and then discuss it. And then every time that happens, we might find a new one to talk about. I'll try and make it brief going over them. The next one's movement method 4, which is open supply line, but it's only applicable in the 19th and greater. So then we move into movement methods 5 to 9. And it says movement methods 5 to 9 enable German infantry units to strengthen the German lines. So as we have got infantry involved here, so 16 to 22 movement methods 5 to 9 apply only to non-mechanized infantry units during 16th to the 22nd. So that's what we're doing. So that's fine. So the first one, number 5, is move adjacent to an allied VP hex. Well, it's similar to the one back, closer to objective and next to VP hex, but we can't get adjacent to a VP hex. Enter an empty town is number 6. That's not possible either. Nearest probably empty town is either Wilts or down here in Dyerkirk. So, and then 7 is move adjacent to an allied unit or town. Okay, so now we're talking. Now we've got something. So the instruction is infantry move adjacent to allied unit or town to which no non-bracketed German infantry unit is adjacent. Okay, so well, maybe not got something. Because what's that's saying is, well, this is in descending order, so it would be these guys at the back that are considered first for this. Non-bracketed German infantry unit is adjacent. Well, you know what? That probably is possible, actually. Because I'll read that again. It says, infantry move adjacent to an allied unit or town to which no non-bracketed German infantry unit is adjacent. Well, this unit here, these infantry units are adjacent to this unit, from the 85th Corps. So we don't need to worry about this one. But this one here it's got, I mean, infantry move adjacent to no non-bracketed German infantry unit. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is cropped up because I know these are combined arms, so there's infantry within them, but I'm pretty sure they're still classed. These aren't classed as infantry units. Pretty sure I've even asked something along these lines before. Yeah, I think I'm being silly here in my thinking that, I suppose it's, you see the infantry symbol on this unit and you think that, well, there's infantry there, but this isn't an infantry unit. It's combined, yeah, but it's not an infantry unit. So, and I'm pretty sure that it might show you that right at the beginning of the. There we go. You've got, yeah, non-mechanized units. You've got the likes of this symbol. This is infantry, and then this is combined arms, and it's got to be noted saying combined arms units include both armour and mechanised infantry capabilities. So capabilities, it's not an infantry unit, and it specifically says, jump back to where it was, where was I? Oops, I went too far. It specifically says, where are we? Which non-bracketed German infantry unit is adjacent. So that's the case here. There's no non-bracketed German infantry unit adjacent to this. So we're looking at, this is 14, so it is in descending order. And it says if the unit is already the only non-bracket German infantry unit adjacent to an allied unit, town or unit, the German unit does not move and its movement is considered complete. Yeah, I remember that stuff. Okay. But he's not going to get there, is he, Grant? I'm forgetting we're across the river here. I'm getting a bit carried away with myself here, am I? He's only going to be able to go plonk or plonk into there, so However, we're still within movement methods 1 to 9. Now that's what you've got to remember. So we've checked 14, he's the highest, and he can't make that move. And like I said, this unit here has an infantry unit adjacent to it. So he can't make the move. And then 13 would be the next one, he's underneath it. He can't make the move. But here, the next one's unit number 9, and he can make the move, okay? So infantry move adjacent to allied unit or town to which no non-bracket German infantry unit is adjacent. So this guy he could move into here or he could move into here. I think that's his two options. So he's going to make that move. Now he's got to watch for restrictions, which he's not going to be breaking for what he's doing. And then we look at when moving adjacent to an allied unit, the 9.24, which is used a lot. So where would we move them basically? If I've got two options here, but it should be pretty straightforward. Unoccupied hex, and then not across a river, and if it's between the two, you pick unoccupied hex. I don't think there's any other hex he can go. No, he can't go 1, 2, 3 because there's zone of control there. So looks to me like this unit's going to move into here. Yeah, so that's him completed his move. So now we'll go back and look at, what was that, number 7 we were on, movement method 7. So then 8 is enter a town occupied by German armour. This is like infantry to like secure the town and then lets the armour move on. But it's only if allied supply can be traced to it. So no, as the fact these are both across the side of the river, they can't do an awful lot. Relieve detachment, that's 18 plus. Right, so that's 1 to 9 complete. So now 10 to 13 are only used for any remaining active units not able to move via movement methods 1 to 9. But we check methods 10 to 13 for each unit not yet moved, 1 unit at a time, beginning with the lowest numbered unit. In other words, check the lowest numbered unit for methods 10 through to 13, then check the next lowest numbered unit. So between 1 and 9 we weren't doing that, we were checking each, we had to go right through the units. So now we're going to check Unit 13 first, and we're going to check with method 10, 11, 12 and 13. Let's see if he does anything. Okay, movement method 10 is follow movement arrows. And it says move if able to expend the unit's full movement allowance, moving in direction indicated by movement arrows. Well, there is an arrow, there's a primary arrow just going that way. And also there's a B there as well, which is relevant, which it says, and that is, it will only use that arrow if this bridge is not blown, I think. Hi all. Right, things have been left overnight again. So just check, the last thing I was talking about was moving these units. And I was talking about this B. And yeah, right enough, that arrow, because there's a B beside the arrow, it's only considered an arrow. And it says an arrow marked with a B is considered to exist only if the nearest bridge in the direction the arrow is pointing is intact, not destroyed. So that bridge is destroyed, so that means there's no arrow in this hex at all. So as for us trying to move with method 10, which is follow movement arrows, we cannot do that. So method 11, and by the way, this is going to get take far too long, so I'm going to try my best. No promises, I know, but to maybe not go over all these movement methods. It'd be better if I say, right, we're going to activate these units, and I'll just look through the movement method myself, and if you guys want to follow along and try and make sure that I'm doing things right, you can look at the rule book yourself and say, well, should you not have done that one instead, Grant? But if there's some that look like you might think they might be moved by that one, I might step in and sort of say, right, it looks like you could do it with this, but because of this, I might say that just to, but yeah, if we keep going through all these, like I say, I'm not as comfortable with the rule book and the Allied Solo, so I'm kind of stumbling along a bit. So I'll try and pause the camera a bit more and look at what I need to know before trying to tell you what you need to know. Okay, so but just we might as well finish this core off. We're on step movement method 11, so that one is move closer to army objective, and it says move to a hex closer to, not the same distance from, the unit's army objective. So okay, so pretty sure we should be able to do this because I need to zoom out again, get the army objective. The army objective's in this hex here. So these two units, by moving even into that hex there, they're going to be closer. But this one's going to be closer. Well, we're now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right, we're 8 away at the moment. If we were there, we'd be 7 away, clearly. Well, to be honest, we could get up to here as well. 6, 1, 2. In fact, we get to there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 2 that would be 6 away. We could only step over into here. That'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6 away as well. Was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, it's 7. So they 2 are 7. They 2 are 6. So if more than one hex is closer to the objective, move to a hex adjacent to an allied unit against which the moving unit has a combat strength advantage of at least 3 to 1. Oh, I remember all this stuff, yeah. Okay, well, I don't think we can move adjacent to an allied unit, can we? And remember, this isn't saying, how I said these hexes were 6 away and this was 7 away. There's no talk yet about move to the one that's only 6 away rather than 7 away. It just jumps into if more than one hex is closer to the objective, move to a hex adjacent to an allied unit against which the moving unit has a combat strength advantage of at least 3 to 1. And then you include in that calculation all German units adjacent to the target, all active units in the reserve units box, and all active on-map units proximate to the target that are not yet moved. So there's a lot to take in there, but I don't believe these units could get closer to the army objective and get adjacent to an allied unit. They could come adjacent to this allied unit, but that would be moving further away, or if not further, it would be the same, wouldn't it? Well, I say it was 8 if they were in there. Well, no, that's hex is fully stacked, so that's not an option either. Okay, so they can't get close. They can't get adjacent to an allied unit. So then the bullet 2 of movement method 11 is if no hex or more than one hex offers a 3 to 1 advantage, move to the hex closest to the objective. So now it's saying if there's no hex that's adjacent to an allied unit, or if there happen to be more than one of them, you would then move to the hex that's closest to the objective. So we said, so we're moving, what are we moving this as? Oh yeah, because we're considering each unit, this is 10 to 13, isn't it? So we're still looking at unit 13, aren't we? Because you never done that. We'll look at 13 complete. So, 1, 2. So what did I say that? 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3. And both them are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so both these two hexes are as close. So what do we do then? We look for tiebreakers. Okay, so tiebreakers in 9.22. If more than one destination, this is movement method tiebreakers. If more than one destination hex meets the requirements of a given movement method, which we've decided that this is the case, both these hexes are the same, move to the hex closest to the unit's army objective marker. Well, that's what we're trying to do anyway, and they're both 6 away, so when hexes are equidistant from an army objective, move to the hex furthest in the compass direction indicated on the marker. So what is the marker? What was it? West. So this is the reason for the west, and some, there's a west, a north, a south, or whatever. So it's wanting to go to the westernmost hex. If it was still balanced after that, it says then to the northernmost hex if a choice remains. But it's not going to be, because this hex is slightly more west than that. So this unit's going to go 1, 2 into there. And now it's 6 hexes away from its army objective. Now it's got to abide by the rules, the restrictions in 9.21 as well. It's not, it's if you're adjacent to a VP hex, you've got to consider if you're moving to break surround from an allied unit, if you're moving out of a town, you've got to look at it, and if you're going to create a gap, for allies can trace supply to a vessel or a town. So they're all the things you've got to consider. But that's not the case. So that's unit 13 made its move, and I feel confident that that's right, sort of. Okay, so then we move on to unit 14. So now we go back to movement method 10, just to check 14 as well. And same again, 10 is follow movement arrows. Well, it's still the same, we don't have movement arrows. So then it's move closer to army objective. So it's exactly the same there. Yeah, he's going to move into the exact same hex, isn't he? The tiebreakers are, yeah. So he's going to join his buddy. Nothing changed with the fact he had moved. So I think that's right. The two are going to move into there. That one had moved into there. And I think we're done, yeah. Okay, so then we're going to determine if there's going to be an attack. So it's 9.5, German attack determination. We went through this already. We check in ascending order, I believe, yes. And any units that are adjacent to allied units. So, well, these guys aren't adjacent, so we don't need to concern ourselves. This was the first unit we would be checking anyway. So he's adjacent to him. So we'd include, right, there's nothing else to include. There's no other active units that have not yet attacked and are adjacent. There's no German reserves. The support card, if it showed assault coordination, I'll not pan the camera around, but it doesn't. If the support card showed assault coordination, we would then consider non-active units adjacent to the, so we would then be able to consider these two units. And this is just to determine if they're going to attack, remember. It's basically saying that they're going to play that assault coordination no matter, I think no matter what. I think they automatically play it. So, but that's not the case. So we're still only considering that unit against that unit. So then we've got to check the situational strength ratio again. Not coming across a river, he's not in a city, but he is in a town. So in a forest, no. In an improved position, no. Adjacent to a supplied allied unit, no. Clear terrain, it is not. Disperser low supply, it is not. Right, so there's no addition to being in a town. Okay, that's the difference from the German solo as well, isn't it? If it was a non-VP town, you would add a +1. So that's not there, but the new one that is there is if it's adjacent to a supplied allied unit, it's a +1. So they must have changed things up a little bit for whatever the reasons being. So there's no additions. So we're 4 against 2, so we're 2 to 1 odds. Come down, check the odds. It's between 1 to 1 and 4 to 1, so we're going to roll the die. A sec. Okay, so we're going to roll the dice again to see. Now the modifiers, it's still December 16, so that subtracts 1. There's no elites in battle. No. Well, the attackers include elites and defenders has no elites. That would add a +1. Attackers are activated by army or army group card. That's not the case either. But the last one, support card, shows an applicable combat tactic. Right, we've got it's combat engineers is on the, rather than again pan the camera. So I'm just going to look at the bit. Hang on a sec. Okay, funny enough, I feel like I may have asked this question or seen this question asked. So like I say, it has to be where were we there? I'm jumping about there, but hang on. It has to be a support card showing an applicable combat tactic. Well, when you go into the attacks part of 12.31 talks about German bonus combat tactics. It says if during a non-overwhelming German attack, I think that's like I say, I think it's 9 to 1 is an overwhelming attack. And the support card lists a combat tactic. That combat tactic may be applied to the attack in addition to the normal combat tactic draw. This bonus combat tactic is awarded to the first German attack to which it applies, and the support card is then discarded. And then it says the bonus combat tactic is awarded only if it provides a benefit to the attacker other than an additional chip draw. So it says this means some combat tactics would not be applied as a bonus combat tactic in certain situations, and it gives examples: reinforced battle, if there's no units to reinforce; fixed artillery if it's beyond the fixed artillery range; infantry infiltration if the attack is a multi-hex attack against a town or already qualifies as a flanking attack; press the attack in any situation, so you wouldn't, if it had press the attack, you wouldn't use the bonus combat tactic for that. And then any combat tactic identical to the tactic in the normal combat tactic card draw. So once we draw a combat tactic, if it happens to then, the support card happens to show the exact same one, we don't play it, and then it will get used as another German impulse actually. But that brings me around to the question, which I think I'm going to have a wee search on BGG for it, because I'm pretty sure I'll find something, because I'm pretty sure I've thought about this before. is combat engineers an applicable combat tactic? Is it going to do anything? Well, what it's going to do to this combat here is give this unit 1 extra strength. So it's going to be 5 against 2, which doesn't increase the odds. I think this still applies. It's starting to make me feel that you should still be considering this. Because in addition to adding 1 to its strength, it removes an IP marker for the defender's hex. Well, he's in a town, so he's not going to have an IP. And then it's also, the defender may not play combat tactics to build an IP in this combat. Well, he can't anyway because he's in a town. So would that still be considered an applicable combat tactic? And I'm pretty sure there is a question out there, and I'm pretty sure the answer is still going to be yes, but we'll find out for sure, because it is increasing his strength to 5. Let's just say I play a combat tactic increasing my strength to 3. Okay, the odds aren't going to change. Well, they actually are going to change in the allies' favour, but you can see that me going up to 5 here could make a difference. So I think that's where it comes into it. I'm just going to have a quick look before we carry on, see if I can find something. Right, well, that was rather frustrating. I've been away for ages trying to find which I was sure I had seen something about this before. Unless I maybe just came to my senses and thought, well, combat engineers increases the strength of the German unit, so that surely benefits the unit. Maybe you don't need to look any further than that, Grant. You don't need to consider, well, you're not removing an IP, there's no danger of him playing combat engineer. You don't need to look into that. He's getting 1 strength added. That's a benefit, so you should consider it. I think maybe that's what's happened. So I've thought it all through and never... but I've actually put a wee post up, so put a question up. So just asking if it... it does really, doesn't it? It increases its strength from 4 to 5. It's not going to make any difference to here. But like I just said, maybe what if this unit reinforced, if the Allies played reinforced battle and got something else stronger into there, then this going from a 4 to a 5 might actually make a difference. So yeah, that's probably why I've never found the question, because it's never been asked, because I've maybe thought about it and they thought, no, don't be silly, Grant. It is a benefit. So, okay, right, where were we then? We were back at 9.5, weren't we? Just determining if the attack, we hadn't even rolled the dice yet. It did bring up a couple of things, like as support cards that show applicable combat tactics, and I gave you the list there, sort of examples of which ones wouldn't be. 2 things cropped up that I'd noticed on the forums. One was talking about an assault coordination. Would that be applicable if all the units round about it were actually active units? Well, at the moment, this would be an applicable assault coordination, because these units aren't active and involved in the battle. But let's just say the whole corps had been active; these units would be attacking as well. So, would assault coordination be applicable? And the obvious kind of answer there was no. And Mr. Butterfield answered this himself. Difficulty saying that, I don't know. Mr. Butterfield answered this himself on that post, saying, where are we? Assault coordination, which is there's a big difference with it in the Allied solo game. It's attacker only. All friendly units adjacent to the enemy unit participate in the attack, even if not activated, but unactivated units do not advance after combat. So, in actual fact, there's 2 differences, isn't there? Because that's the same as reinforced battle, isn't it? They don't advance after combat. Okay, glad I had a wee look at that. Because, they're both different from the German. So, but the big one is that's not the benefit. The benefit is that if German, well, I don't know why it says if German here, because it's under the German events and tactics player aid. So reduce the total hits incurred by the Germans by 1. So right away that's a benefit in itself. So it doesn't matter if all the units around it are active and they're already in the attack. Assault coordination still gives them that. They can ignore a hit basically. Was it ignore a hit or... Yeah, reduce the total hits by 1. So basically ignoring a hit. The other one was one that I got back from Martin. I'd asked a while back. It might come up. I wasn't 100% about his answer with this one. I accepted it, but to try and cut it short, if I had assault coordination as my normal combat tactic and the bonus combat tactic was one of the army or army group cards, now they have 2 combat tactics. So say it had assault coordination and artillery, so it matched one of the combat tactics already had. So my thinking was, well, you'd still play it because you're going to get artillery. But his thinking was, it did match, assault coordination was written on both the cards, so you wouldn't then use that card, even though it was going to give you artillery. I didn't feel 100% about that one, but the wording does say if it matches, I think if it's, what does it say? Any combat tactic identical to the tactic in the normal combat tactic card draw. So I suppose, yeah, rules as written, you know, if it says assault coordination on the card, but it also says and artillery, it says assault coordination on the card, so you couldn't then use it. I feel that maybe that's another one that's out there that maybe wasn't the intention, possibly, because you're getting the chance to bring in artillery. Maybe not though, because assault coordination is pretty strong and they maybe want to use that, keep it for something else. Okay, so that was 2 things that cropped up. So I'm going to not wait on feedback from my question that I've just asked, because I think it probably is silly. So we are going to add another, no, it's a subtract another -1, saying that combat engineer's tactic. Right, sorry, I got a phone call there, so I got cut off. I'll maybe try and edit that a wee bit, but if it sounds kind of bad. So yeah, we're going to get another -1, because that combat engineers, which is in the support card box, is going to be an applicable combat tactic. So we've got a -2 to the dice roll. So let's roll the dice. Okay, a 2. So that's going to be a 0. So that's more than likely it's going to attack. Yeah, 0 or less. Attack proceeds. Do not cancel. So they're right up for attacking with small numbers of units and small odds. However, okay, so give me a sec. Right, so first of all we're going to draw you know what, probably should have this card out there. I like to do it that way just to show what's involved here. So it's the 26, well, it's only this unit that's involved, but so we're going to draw a card for a combat tactic. That's the first step, isn't it? Yep. Oh, there's the 47th Corps as well. That's them drawing both the 1st SS and the 47th Corps cards for combat tactics. So this could be quite a slow start to the day for them, I think. I don't know, maybe that's not the right way to think. So what's that? Infantry infiltration. Oh, that is a good one for them then, because they've got infantry, haven't they? And they're only attacking from 1 hex, so that's going to be, assuming it's not different. Defender. If the defender is is in a town, yeah, it's not going to apply. However, it is going to. It says, furthermore, the attack is not considered a 1 hex attack, even if all attacking units are in 1 hex, and even if the defender is in a town or city. So it does benefit them slightly. Oh, that was interesting then. Yeah, right. I was looking at something else. Um, okay, so although he doesn't get the flanking because he's in a town, he still gets the. He's not going to be attacking from just one hex if the chip comes up. Okay, so next part's add reserves. There's no reserves yet. Now, oh no, sorry, I'm missing the bonus tactic, am I not? Yeah. So this is where, well, hopefully we've got it right then. So we're going to play this for combat engineers. I mean, it feels weak, you know. I mean, you wouldn't do it yourself, but we've been there before. You know, we've been in a position where we think, well, I wouldn't do that if I was playing the game. But remember that the AI's got a lot of things built in for specific things like this, where it feels like they're doing silly sort of moves and maybe not optimal moves. You know, they benefit from other things within the system. You know, so yeah. So basically, he's got 5 strength against 2. So the odds are still the same. It's just going to be 2 to 1. And well, chip pools at the moment. We've still got. Yeah, we can still play a card as well. Let's look at that before we check the chip pool situation. Well, our options we've only got one option. We've got engineers, but well, 2 reasons we can't play engineers. One is he's played engineers, and the other one is we're in a town. So, but however, he's played engineers, so we can't play that. So the only one we can play is core artillery. And we thought about this before. Yeah, I'm gonna have to think about this one this time, because although the odds aren't great, well, let's just double check his chip pools. He's only going to get 3 chip pools, isn't he? 1 for the unit and 2 for the 2 combat tactics. And the odds are only 2 to 1. And we're in a town, so we're going to soak up a hit. So, and it's infantry against infantry. It's not elite. We're not defending green. I mean, we're bracketed, but that doesn't do anything bad to us. Well, we are just 1 step, so. But when we get 1 hit, we're going to retreat. So I very much doubt I'm going to play a card. Hang on though. The other thing to consider is how many cards is left in the German drop pile. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's only 5 cards left. So we do have to watch that. We don't want to get left with cards in hand when they play the last card. I need to double check it, but I think we get a final impulse. There's a way it just ends the day immediately, I think. There's a way that we get a final impulse. I can't remember how it goes. I need to double check that one. Right, I'll just have a quick think about the artillery. Yeah, I just thought I better check that one. So we repeat impulses until the German draw pile is exhausted. If German cards run out during the German impulse, complete the impulse, then conduct 1 last Allied impulse to end the day, even if cards remain in your hand or draw pile. If German cards run out during the Allied impulse, complete the impulse to end the day. That's it. So we don't get another. The day does not end when your cards are exhausted. Yeah. So I mean, if we run out of cards, nothing. The Germans carry on until they run out of cards. So yeah, I just wonder if I maybe should chuck the core artillery in. I don't think so. I think I've still got time to play the 3 impulses. Yeah. Okay, so I'm not gonna play a combat tactic. Okay, so 2 to 1 odds, and well, we don't need a minimum because it's the Germans attacking. So 3 chip pools coming up. Okay, there we go. Slightly scary attack. Slightly scary start because large attack or 16 attack, which it is, it's the 16th. This one was beneficial to him because it had flank attack on the front and 1 hex attack on the back, but remember he played the infantry infiltration, so it's not considered as a 1 hex attack, like we said. This had 6-1 on the front and 4-1 on the back, so it doesn't apply. So just a D1, but remember we are in a town, so we soak that one up and nothing doing. So jolly good. Yeah, all the attacks have been, I mean, I suppose with the rest of the 16th you're going to get a bit of this, you know, they're supposed to have done all their major stuff at the very beginning there and you're just left with it. But I think the fact that we've now went through the first SS supplemental card and the 47th supplemental card is probably a good thing for us. Yeah, so I'll just go back to finish the activation there. Yeah, there's nothing more to be done. You check for units going to get removed to the reserve units box, but it's only if they don't move or attack. I'm pretty sure if they move, they don't. Yeah, surely that's going to be. I thought you need to look that up, Grant. Come on. Yeah, they've actually got to abide by all the following apply. It says. Unit did not move or attack in the current activation. The unit was not placed on the map from the reserve unit's box in the current activation. The unit is adjacent to an allied unit. The unit can trace the reserve supply. The removal of the unit from the hex would leave at least 2 steps in the hex, 3 if it's a VP hex. So there's a lot of conditions to move it back to the reserve unit's box. But these all moved. Well, these moved, this moved and attacked. So that's going to be the end of that impulse. And yeah, we'll maybe take a wee pause there and possibly upload this. Well, I don't know how much we've got yet, but because they've got 5 cards left in there. Yeah, maybe we could still go on. Reminds me though, I did get a response eventually from my thoughts regarding. Sorry, I got distracting there. This core objective, army objective situation. So yeah, Martin answered. Basically saying that he was surprised that this hadn't been clarified before. And he says it kind of pains him to say that I know, although rules as written say on the advance after combat, it could be elsewhere as well, that although it says army objective, he still feels that the core objective should override that. And the reason I've kept going on about it is I believe that's true as well. I feel like it should be. And the one wee bit that sort of rings bells is the fact that it says that the core objective, for a core that's got a core objective, it takes priority over the army objective. And I just feel like the wording within like advanced after combat, I replied to Martin saying it should have just said objective marker, and then if you've got a core objective marker, you go to the core. If you've got an army objective marker, you go to the army. But maybe it was put that way to specifically state the army objective, but I don't think so as well. So I'm going to agree with what Martin's going to go with. Because I mostly do. There's maybe a couple that I'm not 100% with that one, but I feel that's where I want to be steering as well. But I'm usually looking at that, and Martin usually comes back and says, "Well, the rules as written." And well, here you go. He believes that this has been, but it could be. There's been a few. We've already straightened out a few things within the rules within the German solo that I done. There's 2 or 3 clarifications that came through from John Butterfield, and also the whole gap situation came to light, which I like to look at. I could see where it could get more complicated, I suppose, but the whole rest of the game I played using that system with a gap, I found it easier. Maybe I was doing it wrong, but nobody made any comments on that, so I found it easier. So I dare say there could be situations where it might be a bit more complicated. But I don't know why you need to hear about that, because we're talking about the Allied Soul, aren't we? So I'm going to go with that too. So I know how we talked about this unit advancing after combat, and this hex would have made it closer to its core objective. So we're going to do that. We're going to stick with that one for now. Who knows? Maybe I should bump my post back. That ask the question. See if Mr. Butterfield will come along and confirm one way or another. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to take a little pause for now and see what the situation is with these cuts, and yeah, I'll be back with an Allied Impulse sometime soon. Okay guys, cheers.